What you gonna do, brother, when Jeff Townsend Media runs wild on you?
Don't let mama regret. Give your love and your sweat to the shadow.
All right. This is Jeff Townsend. I'm with Bill DeMott. You are tuning in for another episode of the Bill DeMott Experience. Bill, this marks the exact day 1 year ago where we relaunched the Bill DeMott Experience.
I was going to say, this is not just another episode. This is the big one of many to come. Where did the year go, man?
I don't know. I often ask myself that a lot in life, you know?
Where did
But
the year
this was another
go?
reminder of that. It was on the 15th of February last year when we relaunched it that we released that first episode. So
That's
Yeah.
awesome, man. Well, happy anniversary.
well, yeah, happy anniversary, Bill. Happy anniversary.
While we're sharing anniversaries, can I share my Valentine's Day story?
Yeah.
Now, you won't be surprised by this by now, but in typical Bill DeMott fashion, I did so well with the birthday, the anniversary, Christmas, they're all jumbled in. So I keep my record going, have the flowers ready to be delivered, have the chocolates ready to come with it. It never shows up.
What?
It never shows up. And at the end of the night, I sounded like the biggest doofus going, I'm sorry, I got your stuff there. When I tell you today, when I contacted this national flower chain and demanded my money back, they said, well, we can still deliver them by today or tomorrow if you want. And I literally lost my mind and said, it was for
Valentine's Day.
So anyway, that was my happy anniversary to you. I'm here when I blew it on Valentine's Day. My smooth record is shot already in 2024.
Was it really smooth though? Are you pretty slick? Was it a really smooth record you had going though?
I feel
You're just
like
telling
that,
yourself that.
because I was ahead of it, and my kids didn't have to remind me, and I was ahead of I was surprising them because I had everything in hand and ready to go, and then
How was it received though? Like, was it an A for effort sort of thing, or?
no, I think I got the politically correct tap on the head and go, that's okay, babe. Happy,
Nice try, buddy.
Instead of getting like the nice kiss, good morning on the way to work, I got the cheek thing and like, have a good day, you schmuck. And
Ruined Valentine's Day, man. A for effort though. I'm sure she would say it's not ruined.
Well, to the public, she'd say it's not ruined, but
Yeah, deep inside, she's
she
like,
got me now. Yeah, I'm screwed.
who is the service so we make sure we never use it?
I don't.
Is it local or was it chain or?
It's
I'm just asking,
numbers
local or
1-800 and 1-800 in front of it, and has something to do with flowers.
So it's not like a local mom and pop shop thing.
No, it was 1-800 flowers. There it is. I'm throwing them out there. And you know how they wanted to fix it?
How many?
They wanted to send me a $20 coupon on my next purchase.
But it's only valid for 3 months.
Yeah.
All
It's only
right.
good for the next 30 days. It's only good to the end of February.
Yeah, it's damage is done. Maybe you can recreate this Valentine's Day and do it again.
I think Lacey's more excited for our 1 year anniversary than she is for Valentine's.
For your 1 year anniversary.
Our 1 year, you and I, me and you, us and them.
Okay. Oh, she's more excited about that than the Yeah.
I
Well,
hope she's listening and accept my public apology.
she did. I did catch her listening a few weeks ago. I'm not sure she's watching today though. I
I'm
don't
not
know.
sure. She may be boycotting because of this.
Yeah. If you are listening, I'm sorry. I'll say on the behalf of Bill, I'm sorry as well. Ruined Valentine's Day. Didn't have to worry about that at my house though, man. Just take care of the kiddos. They think anything's cool. So
That's it. The little candy hearts and your kingpin.
man, so we were off last week. We're both getting caught up on things, which is good because I'm behind as always. What do you know? I'm behind.
Yeah.
But we missed out on a lot of wrestling talk, man.
Oof, gosh. And here's the terrible thing. I don't like when we miss out on wrestling talk, but it's all still the same conversation still going on. So I feel like we can catch up really quick here.
It is all pretty much the same conversation, just a little bit of news happened since then.
Yeah.
We got people coming in. We've got Chad saying hi. We've got Keith Ballard saying hey.
Loved it.
Joe on TikTok. We got people on 8 different platforms saying hey to you, right?
Hey, everybody. Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday. So let's kick it off. So let's try. There's some news on all the companies. We'll go ahead and kick off with, and to be honest, I would say, I don't know if you agree, I think our viewership, our listeners, our audience primarily watch WWE more.
I think, judging by the conversations we have, I think you're right.
Yeah. So we'll go ahead and start off with the latest WWE discussion, and we'll do that. I'll kick it off with a video here, if I can find it.
Don't like it. The People's Champion in the biggest main event in the history of professional wrestling, bound by blood.
But it is not your right, it is not your distinction to determine the main event. It is mine. I won the Royal Rumble. At WrestleMania 40, in the main event, I choose you, Roman Reigns. If the High Chief, his grandfather, was here, they'd be ashamed of you.
And when you're talking about his blood, you're talking about my blood. So now we have a problem.
There you have it, Bill. The slap heard around the world. Did you watch that live?
I did.
You did watch that live? Your thought?
I'm going to come at it from a different direction, because you and I say this all the time when we're talking about whatever company and whatever, when we're talking about wrestling. I love the fact that there's another layer. Like, we thought everybody, the whole thing was everybody was upset, and what's Dwayne calling, Rock calls them Cody candy asses and all these things,
Cody
and
Crybaby.
everybody wanted Cody and Cody crybabies. And
Did you get your T-shirt?
So they got up all this, they got all the talking, they got all these things, and they continue to tell the story. Everybody was so set on being upset that Cody wasn't in it. So now they're talking about, did Cody sway him? Did the people sway the creative's mind to get Cody back into it? Regardless of what it is, The Rock has done what he said he was going to do and bring more eyes to this event than ever before. In my opinion, than ever before, there'll be more eyes on this event. And so I love it. I love the fact that if we just sit back and enjoy it as fans, we have no idea what's going to happen.
You're right about that. We don't. There's a lot of controversy surrounding this in the, what do you call it? What do you call the community?
Internet wrestling community, the IWC.
The IWC, of course. I don't know if the casual fans, it's as controversial, but the IWC, Internet Wrestling Community, has a lot of controversy surrounding this. Like, what I'm seeing a lot of is things like they're doing this to cover up the Vince McMahon publicity. They didn't have this planned all along. They pivoted. And honestly, we don't know if they had this all along, if they pivoted or not. We don't know. We won't know for sure. But have you heard this too?
Yeah. But to see, that's the great part about it, is just when everybody's got it figured out, here comes another swerve. Regardless of what the reason is, it's another swerve, and it keeps people talking. It makes everybody continue to play Booker, continue to say what's wrong. Well, they're only doing it because of this. How about the fact that it was awesome? And I hope they come up with 2 or 3 more swerves before
it's a swerve
main event. So I thought it was great, but I saw a lot of it, and then I saw people who were complaining. Well, how does a guy on the board get to touch another town? People try to bring it all different directions. So Rocky's on the board of TKO, and then he slaps a talent that works for them, and now he's going to get physical, and all this, that, and the other thing. But it's drawing huge numbers across the board.
Yeah, another big social media record set by that one, I think. So I like the setup. Obviously, now that they're with TKO, they have resources that they can utilize, and one of them is Las Vegas. Because you see this utilized for UFC, right? Like the pre-fight.
Yeah.
And it was kind of similar to that. A lot of journalists, wrestling journalists rather,
Yeah.
were upset because it was kind of, okay, it wasn't kind of, it was billed as a press conference. There was really no press involved.
Right.
I think press were just had a primary access to it, I guess you could say.
Yeah, because it was open to the public, right?
It was open to the public, but it seemed like the press had, access to it. There's a lot of people upset about that. I think they thought there's going to be like a lot of Q&A going on. Really, it was just a promotional event for the company.
But let me ask you this. Do you think the same people that were mad that it wasn't your typical press event won't go to the next one because of this? No, they'll be there. It's
Oh,
still
the
big news. It's still, they're still gonna cover it.
yeah.
It's all. But
They did it.
change. Everybody gets upset by change. Even the people who report on it get upset by whatever changes are made.
Certainly didn't expect any wrestling to happen.
No.
So I don't know why. There's not a surprise there, but I think maybe they thought they were going to be able to ask some questions. But I think for WWE, the whole point was to promote WrestleMania and keep it on topic for that, I guess, and progress storylines through this event.
Yeah.
Because they had a lot of loose ends to tie up, because whatever happened, whether they had planned to go with Cody Rhodes all along in that match, I don't know. It doesn't really seem like it, but I guess it doesn't matter. But they kind of used this event to tie up loose ends and to drum up some publicity.
I wouldn't be surprised if there's another one pre-WrestleMania.
Yeah, I mean,
I would not be surprised if there's another one.
I mean, if you're in town there and you don't have anything else going on early in the evening, it would be pretty cool to just go in there and see. I don't know how much it cost, but I don't know if it's just open. Yeah, I don't know the details on that, but nevertheless, a lot of people are saying it's a cover-up to cover up the bad news that they've had going around the company, and a lot of people are saying that it was their escape from convoluted bad booking. Is it truly booking if it's not finalized yet? I don't know.
Is there a difference in if someone came out and said, "Well, we realized we weren't booking it right, so we redid it to book it proper"? No,
that's what I don't understand exactly. Why is it a bad thing that they change what they were going to do if they did?
Creative changes all the time, and you finally got. I don't mean finally like it's never happened, but creative is finally going away to where the the majority of the WWE universe wants to see, and you still have people going, "Oh, they're just doing it for this and doing it for that." Well, if you have the resources to get the focus off the negative of your company, then by all means you should be using it.
A lot of people are saying they're trying to get ahead of everything too, like the timing of The Rock coming on the board and all that was just suspicious. But I mean, we'll never know for sure. But Rock gets a $30 million payday. Do you think? I guess my next question for you is, how big of an influence do you think he has right now, whatever his position is on the board? I guess we know what his position is, his title is, but what impact and influence do you think he has as far as compared to others, like maybe a Triple H, or they're just calling him Paul now too. You realize that?
Yeah. They're kind of getting rid of the.
And why is that, Bill? We've been texting about this. What are they doing, man? I told you this would happen.
You nailed it. You said this is going to be the norm now with the way UFC does things as well.
It's just it's the sports aspect of it.
Yeah.
And
so
we're seeing that.
Like Dwayne owns the name The Rock now. So unless Paul is given the legal rights to Triple H, we may not see that much more. Listen, I love the fact that they can take the focus off of the negative. But when we talk about this all the time, somebody's always going to bring it back to the negative. Oh, they're just doing it for the. How about the fact that the product's really good right now? How about that everything is like they're literally firing on all cylinders right now? And instead of that's why I say I don't look for the bad or the negative. Oh, they're doing this because of this. I go, wow, they got me.
I do think they underestimated probably how over Cody Rhodes is.
And if Cody indeed needed a shuttle push, this was it. This was the rocket booster that sent him into
But even if The Rock interjected himself and said, I'm going to be in the main event at WrestleMania, he still had this sense of knowing that he needed to pivot from the idea.
Yeah. Yeah. I think what I'm hoping for, I think what they're leading to is Cody Seth against Roman Rock at the Chamber, right?
That's what it feels like.
That's it. That was the biggest thing that I got out of that press conference was everybody feeling like Seth was just a second-rate player.
That's also how they've been presenting him.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So
That's freaking Rollins. Just really over the top.
I like it. I think it's going to be good. I'm looking forward to it. I'm actually looking forward to both events, the Chamber and WrestleMania. Everybody thinks they're going to get the end of this story, and they're not. I'm going to go on record saying they're not even coming close to the end of this story again.
Some
I
stories
heard
just
people
going in.
chanting, or people talking about it's the 9th inning, right? Because Paul Heyman, how many months ago, a year ago, said, we're only in the 3rd inning. And people going, it's the 9th inning. No, it's not. This game's going into overtime.
Sorry for all those out there. Some people did not like my Seth Rollins impersonation.
I liked it.
I'm just happy that he's going to get into something legitimate, I guess.
Sink his teeth into something.
It's just kind of been this goofy character on TV. And the presentation's weird, right? You have Cody Rhodes comes out in a suit at this press conference. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson comes out with a cutoff tee on,
Right.
Muscles all out. Then Seth Rollins is wearing whatever Seth Rollins wears. Just that part of it was a little bit odd, but Seth Rollins' presentation's been a little bit off for me, and I'm excited to hopefully he gets in something that he can dig his teeth into a little bit and get away from that Seth freaking Rollins and go back to just.
I like his promos. I like the way he's been talking. It's been a little more matter of fact.
Yeah.
I like the barbs going back and forth. It gives it some legitimacy. For me, I think it opens the door for Damian Priest, and that's an outing I could really sink my teeth into is Priest and Rollins. So like I said, I'm excited all the way around. I'm not looking at they're doing it for this or this. I'm like, entertain me, make me believe in it.
Here's one thing I'm going to be curious to see, and how important this is. I don't know. You tell me in your opinion. How important is this to tie it into the bloodline in a strong manner? I know, right? I think full circle it will be because The Rock's part of the bloodline, right? But they've got all these other different stories inside of the bloodline that have kind of been put on pause, like the Usos, Solo, all that stuff's kind of off to the side right now. How important do you think it is to continue some of the things they had developed with the bloodline storyline?
I think it's going to be hard to get back to that fully engaged bloodline storyline. To your point, I think they've gotten away from it a little bit. Jimmy's this way, Jay's this way, Solo's kind of going. He's separating himself. You see the wise men only at certain times now with Roman. All the other key players to me, Sami Zayn and guys like that, are kind of just everybody's kind of branched off again. So I think the bloodline thing is just going to start to become the head of the table conversation and not so much the bloodline. I mean, the bloodline will be a part of it. I find it very strange and hard to bring the Usos and Solo back into it and make that a tight unit again.
Yeah, it'll be a challenge for them. We'll see what they do. How does this bloodline thing all come to an end eventually? I don't know. It doesn't have to right now, though, I guess.
It doesn't have to. And I think the days of, it doesn't matter what we did last week, people don't remember. People do remember, and I think they're working like they do, and they're trying to be consistent. But I just see it. I think initially it was one of those things that at any time you could bring them all back together for any reason. I think they're past that now. They're all becoming their own individual characters now. The bloodline thing, I think, just leads us into the head of the table, which you can always come back to now because that's been put on the back burner now because they're not facing each other.
I do think that I am drawing at complete blanks on what I was going to say. What I was going to say is I do think this is going to cause some confusion on how this all plays out with if Roman Reigns loses the title.
Right.
And what manner will that happen? Because once he loses the title to Cody, there might be another match. I don't know how much more they can get out of it after that point, but the question is, what will they do after that? How can they tie it back in to the bloodline? Right. That's where Roman Reigns' story is going to progress, right? whether The Rock's involved with it or not.
Yeah, it has to. It has to be. He's still the head of the table. He's not the head of the table because of the Universal Championship. He's the leader of the family, right? So I think it has to go on past this. But
ultimately, though, you can't deny getting Rock involved in WrestleMania somehow. I feel like
Listen, people were gonna go to WrestleMania regardless. But did I read it right? Where they've just sold another 10,000 tickets for tomorrow night's SmackDown?
I don't know about SmackDown. I thought you were going to talk about WrestleMania tickets.
So if I understood the article, they sold another 10,000 additional tickets for tomorrow night's SmackDown because Rock will be on with Roman.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, yeah,
Christmas, dude.
10,000. Yeah, if that's true, that's a lot. Yeah,
that's huge. That's 3 AEW houses.
I don't even know what arena they could be in. They could just open up that many seats. But yeah, you can't turn around. You can't really underestimate. Understate. The Rock just got paid $30 million too. I mean, if they want to utilize The Rock, they just paid him $30 million part of this board thing. He's going to be involved.
$30 million.
And he got his name, which you're right. It's could be worth more than that.
Right, because now all merchandise is his. He owns all the intellectual property now. No one can make a cent off of his name any longer.
I don't know how that works with what WWE would do, but point being, The Rock name and brand is worth a lot of money. Back to the other championship. So looks like McIntyre and maybe Damian Priest sneaks in the picture somehow, but it looks like McIntyre will be involved, right?
It looks that way.
He's kept himself in that picture the whole time, man.
Yeah, Drew is just one of those constants, and I think that's the plus. Like what we've been talking about. There's so many constants, and there's so many players, and I love this Drew that now no longer cuts promos and just talks like he looks. Like I always felt like he was cutting promos, whether they're scripted or not. It still felt like a promo. The past month or so, when Drew talks, this is a 6'4", 270-pound man talking.
He's a big guy.
The believability is there. I mean, he looks the part. He's always looked the part. He looks great. He works great. I think it opens the door for Drew to be part of it, and I think that's where you're going to see my prediction is you're going to see Damian Priest get involved somehow with the Seth thing, and then we're going to see Damian Priest and Drew marry on to each other for a little bit.
They've needed like a good heel, and I feel like Drew McIntyre's done a good job with that.
Yeah, because there's I think WWE has so many fan favorites now. There's not a lot of distinction between, my two favorite words are babyface and heel, right? There's not a lot of distinction between the white hats and the black hats. Drew's clearly wearing the 10-gallon black hat.
10-gallon one. Wow. Huge Drew McIntyre fan. People are also kind of chatting about how he's being promoted for shows in like May. So they think that's an indicator that, maybe he has a long-term plan with the contract status wise. I don't know.
Well, I hope so. I hope he, I think, right, that's what they're in now. They're the re-signing process. And then you have to think about, the timeout. He was injured. The company adds that onto your contract. So his contract let's use the end of February. But if now he has to fill that time that he missed, his contract could actually be extended through May, and then they could talk to him about it. So maybe that's why he's being promoted through, into the summer events, because he still has to work those dates to make up for the timeout.
I'll have to ask Uncle Dave. He probably knows all the details.
Uncle Dave probably knows.
Yeah.
As he holds
my people told me.
Yeah, I know. Someone needs to get that guy a mic stand.
Get him up
for the guy that's on a show multiple times a week. He needs a mic stand, man. That's the thing I've seen though. A lot of people holding mics. That can't be like comfortable after an hour.
I don't like it.
Yeah, your kind of volume goes everywhere, and we're too hard on Dave. What else are you thinking on the WWE front, man? While we're on it before we move to another company. I tell you, I watched NXT last night. That was wasn't the best NXT show I've seen, but I did like the Braun Breaker and Baron Corbin getting the tag team titles though.
Like, I dig what they're doing, and I know why they're doing it. Here's someone else that I'm kind of high on now that I'm a fan of is the young lady who's like riding the coattails of Valkyrie. and I still can't get her name right, but I think she's going to be a tremendous asset. There's a lot of women in NXT, and the shows tend to be, woman heavy on it. There are a lot of
They get plenty of time, yeah.
they get plenty of time, and I'm not against that. I agree. I don't think it was one of the best shows they've had in a while, but listen, the only way you're gonna get those reps is being on TV.
Yep.
So while everybody else is, and rightfully so, right? Because everybody says NXT is the third brand for WWE. Yes, it is, but it's still that place to grow and learn. So I always try to look at it that way instead of being critical, right? I critique it, but I won't be critical of it because there's still, but then you see a lot of good things happening.
Yeah. I mean, and you gotta really understand what it is too.
Yeah, and so I thought it was a good show. I watch it. I'm engaged through most of it, and then there's some things like I go, it's running.
That's the brand you use though to like experiment too, though, right?
Yes, that's exactly what it's for. Let's throw it against the wall, see what sticks, and if it doesn't stick, we have enough talent and opportunities to move forward, and then get these other people, caught back up. So
when you got involved back then, would you imagine that it is what it is today?
no way. I knew that was the vision. Like, this is the vision. But I go back to and I say this respectfully, the old timers that came into the Performance Center when it was getting built, to a legend's words, I never thought I'd be alive to see it come to this. Because everybody always talked about what the progression of the business would be. I never thought, regardless of the reason, I never thought I'd be around it long enough to see it come to this. And it's just amazing, man. And it's just hats off to Sean and Matt Bloom and Ryan Smiley down there and Paul and for sticking to it, and everybody else that's working down there and doing their thing, because it really is clicking, and you really see the talent that is spending time there. And I'm not saying people don't, but you really see the people that are spending time there, because every week they're getting better and better. Trick Williams, perfect example.
Oh yeah. Pivoting to SmackDown, didn't they also announce Logan Paul? Like, they got a full loaded card tomorrow, don't they?
Yeah.
They're bringing out all the big
guys. How about this guy? We talk about The Rock. Put Logan Paul in the same conversation.
Yeah.
Put him in the same conversation. The eyes he's bringing, but the just the way he's presenting himself, and he's really starting to get a feel for who he is. Not Logan Paul, the celebrity. I think he's really starting to get a feel for who he is as Logan Paul, the wrestling personality and things like that. So hats off to him. I'll always praise him for what he's doing.
Yeah.
So it's a stacked show tomorrow for sure.
How are you feeling about the Chamber coming up before we move on to the next thing? That's the last thing we'll talk about here at WWE. You excited, brother? Are you going to get up 5 a.m. to watch it, brother?
Well, that was the thing we were talking about this weekend, because,
you don't watch anything live. I mean, post live, so.
Billy was trying to figure out, he goes, wow, what time do we have to watch that live? I'm like, early in the morning, dude. So we may catch the later version, but I am looking forward to it.
The later version just consists of logging in anytime, right? And watching it. Realize that, right? Okay.
Which thanks to you and many others, now that I have to get used to this streaming idea and everything, I have to figure this out. So
all it consists of is clicking on it just like you would if it was live, but it's not live.
But it also consists of my little sticky notes going, press this button, go to this.
Maybe Billy can help you.
Yeah, but I'm looking forward to the Chamber. I really am. I think it's going to be a good build-up to Mania.
AEW, full of death matches last night, street fights and all that. But before we get into all that, I do want to show you something and get your thoughts on it.
Oh, you're going to get me worked up.
Like so many of you, I am very excited about tonight's big announcement. You might have heard earlier today that TD Garden announced AEW is returning to Boston on Wednesday, March 13th. That will be a very important night for AEW and the entire pro wrestling industry, because Wednesday, March 13th, 5 weeks from tonight, will be AEW Big Business, live in Boston. You're not going to want to miss this show. Tickets go on sale this Saturday. The event takes place 5 weeks from tonight. And if you can't join us live in Boston, you're going to want to join us right here on TBS on March 13th, because Big Business is going to be one of the most important nights ever in AEW, and a night that the entire pro wrestling industry will remember. Thanks, guys. Back to you.
A huge announcement. Did you see this? Another big announcement.
Yeah. I'm trying really hard not to. So I go first. Is there no one that they have that could make this announcement other than Tony Khan?
I think he wants to make it, Bill.
I know he wants to be on camera. I know he wants to make those announcements. But are you setting yourself up to fail by having Tony Khan do it? This is big business. This is the biggest. The whole wrestling world's going to be talking about it.
It's going to change the industry forever.
But I haven't heard anybody talking about it other than speculation of, if the big business is you're introducing Sasha Banks or Mercedes Moné, that's not, the whole wrestling world's not going to be talking about that.
You don't think
Because
so?
no, because the biggest thing she did was show up in New Japan and win the championship. That was huge. So I don't know if big business is the thing. That's the thing about these big announcements that AEW makes 7 times a year. They have these big announcements, and then I wonder, I go back to Jay White. They announced Jay White, but Jay White
Is it
kind of
6-man? Is it 12-man tag match? Isn't it?
fell flat a little bit, and all these big announcements kind of fell flat a little bit. So you've got to back up what you're saying.
I don't think Jay White fell flat because of anything he did.
No. And I'm not saying because of what he did. It's just here are these big announcements, Miro and all these, you know what I mean, across the
Did you
board.
just say Miro?
Yeah, Miro, big. Here comes all these people, so
Where
they have a
is
great
Miro?
talent pool. And,
Where in the world is Miro?
yeah, right. So is your big announcement Mercedes? That'd be cool, but is that enough to draw me to TD Garden? And then I'm always a big fan of going, hey, if you can't be there, don't worry, because you can watch it on TV. That's the part that stuck out for me. If this is a huge announcement, you want people to have to be in that arena. So anybody in that Boston market or that whole area within 3 hours driving distance, you're right. I can watch it on TV and have the best seat in the house and not have to be there. And then from what I saw, the biggest part of what people were saying is, boy, why would you go to TD Garden when you can't fill that kind of arena?
That's why it's a big announcement. He's got to try to fill it.
So do you think that breaking news is enough to fill TD Garden? I've worked in the Garden many times.
To fill the Garden, no.
You're going to fill TD Garden? You're going to,
I don't think so.
Yeah.
But you can move some tickets maybe, though. I think that's the thought behind it, right?
Yeah.
So what do you think happens? Do you think it's about Mercedes showing up, Sasha Banks?
I'm just going by what the scuttlebutt is. I don't know what the big announcement could be that's going to have the whole wrestling world.
You know what else they're saying, right?
Streaming?
No. Oh, well, man, I don't know. But Okada.
How many of your friends, in your wrestling group, know who Okada is?
Well, I mean, I kind of talk with people that really like wrestling. Several.
Do your girls like wrestling? Your daughters like wrestling at all?
A little bit. They don't know.
Are they
going
to buy a CM
my
Punk
casual
shirt?
wrestling? My casual wrestling fans, if you're asking me, don't know who Okada is.
That's my point. So why is that big news?
I think it sounds like they're offering big money. It's good. It's big news though. I mean, I don't know if it's enough.
Whatever's good for business, I'm a fan of. But
I don't know what you're going to do with him, but
it always goes back to everything is this big news and it's going to set the world on fire. And the track record is 70% of the time it doesn't.
I think it's also what they do after they get there, right?
And you're adding more people to an overstaffed talent pool to begin with. So now what are you telling these people that have been there for 3, 4, 5 years trying to get a spot? And now they got to go back down the ladder again because we're bringing in someone for one night or going to keep them there. And because they garnish a lot more money or stardom, you don't stand a chance.
It does sound like all things indicate those two individuals are going to go to AEW, though. Sasha Banks and then Mercedes. And then I think I can, okay, so like for Okada, I can see the appeal, right? They're going to get him a bunch of money, but it kind of seems like they let you work a lot of other stuff too.
Yeah,
I mean,
Will Ospreay, right? Is it the same kind of deal as Will Ospreay?
I don't know. Maybe. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, right? A lot of these guys are doing other stuff. Even Moxley out there does some stuff, and
So hats off to them for business wise. They're getting Uncle Tony to pay him big, and they're he can say they're part of the dealio. But I just don't know what the big payoff is.
I don't know. One of the best wrestlers in the world, though.
Yeah, no, hands down. But to the casual fan, is Okada not knowing or just the thought of Okada coming in going to be the thing that draws into the Garden?
I think for Tony, it's the thought of Okada and how what kind of matches he can book him in.
That's it. I think it's more for Tony.
I don't think Tony thinks I could do this storyline. I do think he thinks, imagine we could get another Okada Danielson.
Well, to me, it's like Takeshita and Will Ospreay.
Yeah.
That's a great match anywhere in the world. But how does it stay with the AEW storyline? Because it stays in the Don Callis family. I thought that was a terrible reasoning for that.
Man, you sure called it on the Adam Cole group. They're not doing anything now.
No,
messing with the best friends, and
it's just
and I know
he's trying to find room for everybody. And you said it earlier, everything's a street fight. Everything's outside. There's nothing makes these matches special anymore. Now people are going because they expect blood and outside interference in every freaking match. And just, it is what it is. So then when you have guys that can give you those good solid matches, it's a throwaway because.
Yeah. What did you think about Sting? So we talked about that on the last time we talked, Darby Allin Sting titles. Nicholas and Matthew, as they're being called. The evil VPs.
No matter how I say it, right? Someone's going to say, oh, what does that mean? I'm not interested in it. Sting's last match, I don't know. I think that was what should be one of your big announcements. That should be, okay, we're pulling out all the stops and we're bringing in this person you wouldn't expect, or, whatever it is, or I don't know. I just don't. And I don't see what's Ric Flair going to do ringside with the Young Bucks.
Kind of forgot about Ric Flair.
See? So all the things that were built up for Sting's final match and this big, and now it's just a storyline. It's just a thing. So to be honest, I'm not.
I thought the match, the tag team title match, was good though.
Yeah, I didn't understand Darby Allin's promo. I know a lot of people loved it because he referenced Cody, but
yeah, we'll talk. I was going to talk about that. Yeah, he kind of just throws out those VPs, those being the Young Bucks, were never big fans of his, and the other VP, and not Kenny Omega,
right.
He didn't talk about the brutal assault that they did to him. They wore those white suits and they had his blood all over them.
Yeah, he totally let that alone.
Yeah, they didn't talk about that.
And how am I supposed to take Darby Allin serious about complaining about how he wasn't welcome? That guy's on every show, everywhere. He's on TV every week. He's the indestructible, so you got a guy 140 pounds and he's complaining about the EVPs, but he's on more than they are. So I didn't understand I know he's trying to be this badass, confrontational guy. I just don't, I can't make the connect. I can't connect the dots.
Yeah, he's not a badass because he's confrontational. He's just a badass because
he keeps
what he's willing to do to win a match.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying, but they don't really expose Sting. Well, because, just to be honest, it's not that Sting, he's never been, I guess, had like the world's greatest promos. And I think that's kind of like the way you have to keep Sting, where he's not talking all the time.
Yeah.
I had that mystique behind him. But so it's just really up to Darby Allin to try to carry the load on some of that. And that's just not his strength either. So,
but it just strikes me weird. I think we talked about this a couple episodes ago, of how Darby spent all the time talking and Sting went, yeah, woo!
Sounds good.
It's just that disconnect of, it's a little force fed, I feel like. So, but I like to see how the match goes. I think it's,
you're getting the pay-per-view, right?
Yeah, sure. No,
I'll let you know how it goes.
Yeah, I'll take everybody's word for it.
There was some good matches last night, though. I like both of the street fight themed matches. Kind of thrown together, though.
I just wish there was just one of them a show instead of all of them.
Yeah, they had this weird balance of where, like, you don't see a lot of other guys, but you see a lot of Orange Cassidy, which I get. A few years ago, I think he had the most T-shirt sales on Pro Wrestling Tees. but you don't really get some of these guys that we talk about that I don't even know what's going on with some of them. But you say names randomly, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on with that person.
Yeah. And now all of a sudden, Matt Taven's jumping over the thing, he's going through a table, and he's on tax and all. Why? How did we get there? I don't understand the
Texas death match, Bill. That's
why, because they were in Texas.
yes.
Yeah, but that's it. It could have been. I don't know.
It's not like the old Texas death matches.
No, everything in AEW is a Texas death match now.
Yeah.
I've never seen so many people get choked out and get up and walk out.
Wow. What show was it I was watching where they had him and they're talking about the oxygen supply? That was it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, it was last night. Okay.
Yeah.
The oxygen supply.
Then you get up and walk out. Commentators do a great job, but they're telling a different story than what we're watching. So it's
maybe they're trying to connect the pieces. I don't know.
yeah, I get it.
While we're on the AW, what else you got?
You
can talk about your guy that I found they sold you on.
Who's that? Swerve?
Yeah,
big fan. I think Prince Nana, don't be mad at me. I think it's time for them to split up.
Yeah.
Because if Swerve is gonna go to that next level,
mm-hmm.
and it looks like that's the path he's on.
Do you like his feud he has right now? At least he has a little bit of a feud.
Having Nana dancing and everything, and I think it's okay with Brian Cage and the other guys or whatever else. But I think if Swerve's going to go to the next level, he needs to kind of break away from that.
At least he's in a storyline right now.
Swerve?
Kinda.
Yeah, but what? So let me ask you this:
he's hated, right? That's the storyline.
You and I are in a bar, and I look at you. I say something. I've had too much to drink. You've had just enough to drink. We have words. We have a drag out barn burner, pull apart, both get arrested, both spend the night in jail, and then we're both back at this bar next week. Are you going to come up and say, and another thing? Or are we going to just have at it every time we see each other?
I don't think if I have at it with you once, I would have another time. But I see what your point is. Yeah.
Adam Hangman Page.
Yep.
And Swerve had some really good encounters.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. At least.
And I don't understand why they stand there and talk to you. You don't deserve my time. You don't deserve my that.
But they keep giving each other.
Punch them in the mouth. Like they should never have a word to say to each other. I'm beyond that. You know what I mean? And I feel like it's not necessary.
You like Hangman better as a heel or a babyface?
I like just his demeanor. I really don't look at him as a heel or a babyface. I like his intensity, but then I don't like him going backwards the following week and starting the story over again. It's like having this big brawl, and the first thing we do is lock up. Hell no, I'm going to grab you by your nuts. I'm going to punch you in the face. I'm going to do something and get you down and beat the crap out of you. And instead, we got the same thing. Oh, you want to go there again? Oh, you want...
We're beyond talking at this point, right?
Yes,
yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yes.
Absolutely, I get it 100%. So there is a little bit, but my point was there is a bit of a storyline there at least.
Yes, and they have me, but I'm hanging on to hopefully something more to it, because if it keeps coming back every week going, oh yeah, let's go have a banger, and then next week we'll, oh yeah. It's a
I think the timing
story.
just has to be right for Swerve.
Yes.
Like what they're going to do with him. I think they're just kind of doing whatever they're doing until they know exactly how they're going to get him in that title picture. Adam Copeland and Christian Cage. That's starting to drag out a little bit, ain't it?
Yeah.
I'm curious where they're going to go with that.
I think they're trying to force feed us Daniel Garcia now.
Yes.
Make him relevant. And
hey, let me ask you something. Hold on. Sorry to cut you off. So the rankings are back, right?
Yeah.
And they're important.
Right.
They're so important. Edge, Adam Copeland, is the third ranked, blah, blah, blah. He thinks he should have a title match.
Right.
Daniel Garcia, who is absolutely god-awful in the ranking system, comes out and says, I think I should have a title match.
Yeah.
And Adam Copeland, what?
Because he's won 5 in a row.
Yeah, but his overall record's terrible. He would need to win like 15 more in a row.
Right.
And Edge, instead of saying, screw you, idiot, get out of here. I don't need you don't deserve it. This is mine. I'm higher in the rankings. He just says, okay.
Yeah, let's fight.
Didn't you find that to be a little bit odd?
And then Christian and Peloponnese. What is it? What's the group called?
Uh,
I don't know. Whatever it's called. The patriarchs, the matriarchs, whatever they're called.
yes.
They come out and they go right for Edge.
Yeah, but
Well, why not go for Garcia, the low-hanging fruit, instead of telling us that Garcia doesn't mean anything and we're going after Edge? So I feel like they got away from it. And I thought they were going to tell that good story of like Copeland making his rounds to get back there, but clearly that's the story.
yeah, clearly it is. But I'm trying to figure out why the rankings matter.
The rankings don't matter
So why talk about the rankings?
because it's different and we're changing the world.
But obviously the rankings don't matter, or Daniel Garcia wouldn't be in that position. But Edge just said, "Okay, no problem, buddy."
Yeah, let's do it. Like one side, Edge is trying to tell one story about how he wants to give the young guys opportunities, but it doesn't coincide with the story with Christian.
The fact that you need to be good in the rankings.
Right. You have to be up there.
Only thing that matters is a 6-star match, is what Chad Michaels said.
Chad Michael.
7-star match, Chad Michael.
Yeah, if you're not at 7 now,
Yeah, 7's the bar.
can't even talk about it.
7's the bar now, I think. All right, let's move on to the next company. We'll do that with a clip.
Bring this up because of this from the front page of WrestlingObserver.com. I have never heard of anything like this before.
What's that?
The TNA wrestling roster is looking to find a path forward following Scott D'Amore's departure from the company. Members of the TNA roster publicly voiced their support for D'Amore on social media after the announcement. Today, Fightful published a letter that members of the roster sent to Anthem Sports and Entertainment CEO Leonard Asper and D'Amore. In the letter, the TNA wrestlers expressed their belief that that D'Amore is still the best possible person to protect TNA's present and future. We feel strongly, the letter said, that a wrestling person, in quotes, needs to be intimately involved at a high level to ensure the amazing company we have all built and product we have provided to our fans continues to grow and flourish. It is our opinion that the best possible person for that role was, is, and will be Scott. They have arranged a letter-writing campaign to Anthem to bring back Scott D'Amore. Bros, has that ever happened in wrestling?
I hope
Dude,
this is 4D chess. This
hold
is
on
the
a
greatest
second.
booking ever.
I've been around a long time, and I've seen a lot, okay? I can't ever remember, like, the head booker of a company being ousted, and the roster all got together to do a letter-writing campaign to ownership to please bring this person back.
Got you to laugh there. I like that. This Scott D'Amore thing came out of nowhere, didn't it feel like?
Yeah, it sure did.
We're relaunching TNA. We're bringing it back. We're gonna pick it up a notch. We're gonna be more legitimate, and you got rid of the heart and soul behind it. Oh,
But-
part of it,
so-
not only.
So there has to be more to this decision than just going, okay, you're out, we're in, right? So, and I guess depending on what you read or who you listen to, it's been in the works for quite a while.
Which is crazy because of everything else that they're presenting. We're gonna go back. We're getting back to the TNA roots.
Right.
He's been a long stay player there. I mean, I know he's had a couple in and out, but like I said, heart and soul, he's been really involved.
Yeah, and he's had no qualms about sticking up for the company and doing all the things that they did. Here's the thing that I find interesting, and I'll steal from Brian Alvarez. I've been around this a long time. I've seen a lot of things. I've seen where talent has come together to get people removed. I've seen where talent has come together and joined together and voiced their opinion on whether it's creative or whether it's the attitude or whether it's the morale. But if you're going to send a letter to your new boss saying it's in the best interest for this company for Scott to be back, then I suggest you probably have everything packed and cleaned out of your locker, because now you're challenging me by saying I'm not fit to be in this role, and you're not going to give me 100% of your efforts and everything else. And if Scott's not here, we're going to fail anyway, and so our attitudes are going to change and all this. Don't get me wrong. Tremendous applause for feeling that way about a fellow wrestler, performer, booker, whatever he was, is. But why would you openly put that letter out there and now challenge? Because unless we don't know something about Scott, he's not in a position to give you a job at another company. And as much as people are putting their necks on the line for Scott, and I'm sure he'd put his neck on the line for others, that's bad business.
I think their concern is that what they did is bad business. And you know what I mean? Like, so there's always this argument of you got to have a wrestling guy there, the guy.
I agree with that 100%.
And all lines of employment, people are always about that. You got to have, there's nothing wrong with having some outside players involved.
Right.
You do have to have somebody that knows the product, though. You got to have a team, a good team put together. And I can't speak for the entire team there, but I know they have some talent there.
And then they have a good group of leaders in the back as well. They have veteran guys with experience that can. And so if you're telling me that I can't rely on a Tommy Dreamer or anybody else in the back to lead the way now that Scott's gone, then they're of no use to me either.
Listening to Lance Storm talk, because he goes on Wrestling Observer Radio, Wrestling Observer. They have a bunch of different shows. He didn't seem like he knew anything about it. But I had heard that Scott D'Amore had made a play at trying to buy it. And I don't know, maybe that ruffled some feathers because I think he was concerned at the way it was going to be handled and he was wanted to buy it.
So he got the Bischoff treatment.
Yeah, fair enough.
Right? That's kind of what it comes down to then. If that's, he got the Bischoff treatment. Nope, because this is what we're going to do with it.
But I think Bischoff's case is a little bit different because it was already on the way down and out.
Sure.
And I think on this rebrand, it's contradicting what they were kind of, because Scott D'Amore has also been at the front leading this whole TNA charge, TNA return charge. So it's kind of counterproductive of what they're saying as far as the vision of the company goes.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out.
Still got a lot of talent there.
There's a lot of talent there. Nothing has changed but the morale. I guess it's the evolution of the locker room, but I don't think you'd see a bunch of grown men go into that guy's office and express their concerns or feelings about it and deal with it that way. But to go publicly with a letter and now rally, so pretty much the people who are making a living at TNA are now rallying the troops to be against everything TNA is going to do and the people that are running it. Like, I see that as a big negative.
Hey, Tori. Hey, Chad. Everybody comment along. I see all your comments. Okay, so we have some people here commenting that they feel like Scott was going to be a huge part of the rebrand of TNA.
Yeah.
I think we all did. So it's such a weird thing to me. I kind of thought that, I guess I didn't realize there was any tension there. I mean, I heard there could be because he wanted to buy it, but man, it seems like we're just on completely different pages of what I thought was going on there.
So, but why would wanting to buy it be tension?
Maybe he expressed he wanted to buy it because he didn't like the way things are being done. Because I've also heard that they recently kind of reinvested a lot of their business and kind of like combine it all together.
Yeah.
Which I guess I didn't realize Anthem, what all they have and are involved in. So I'm really not all very educated on that. It's actually been a while since I've looked into anything like that since they originally bought it. But I just don't know what their vision for TNA is.
I would imagine because Anthem is very similar. I'm not sure if it's on the same scale, but very similar to the Endeavor TKO thing. They're in a lot of media, things and stuff like that. So as they're looking to grow it and maybe take the blueprint from WWE going into those kind of partnerships, it goes into, here comes the sports entertainment talk more than it's pro wrestling, right? So you have a pro wrestling guy running it, but we're trying to go into the new era of entertainment. Does that make sense? And maybe that's a thought. I don't know.
I guess. I just sure hope they get a better TV deal.
Yeah, and I think they will, but I think it's a strong move, but I also feel like it's a negative because you're rallying your fans and the troops against the new regime.
That's a really good point. That is concerning. I'm surprised they just haven't been bought out by somebody like WWE or.
And here's the thing. Oh my gosh, please forgive me. Her name, she was at the Royal Rumble. Jordan Grace.
Yep.
TNA. So you don't think that WWE has eyes on TNA? And you don't think that they're going to... So why would I now take a guy or a girl or a man or a woman that's talking against their own company, and why would I bring them into partnership with my company? You kind of got to test all the waters. And while I commend the locker room staying together, I don't know if that's the right thing to do, to rally the troops and the public against the new regime.
That's a really good point, actually, Bill. But it's still, to me, just they have a pretty good library. I'll say that.
Yeah.
I'm really just
Scott's a good guy. I heard Eric Bischoff's take on it and how he said Tony Khan should bring Scott D'Amore in, and I think that'd be a great move. But
maybe that's a big announcement.
QT Marshall's back, so
I don't know what it could be to be that big. I don't know. So yeah, I'm. You know what I did do? I'll say I have the CW app and I watched some NWA on there.
Yeah. No, I haven't seen it, but now they're on CW.
You got to get the app on your TV.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. I don't know if you'd watch the YouTube stuff ever, but they got they're on there now.
No, I haven't.
Man, it sure fell flat on that TV deal. We never heard anything else about when NXT got on there. But it's pretty cool. At least they get on the app. Hopefully that gets them some exposure. But I don't know how much people are on that app. You know, I don't know.
So here, and you just reminded me of something I was going to send you a message earlier in the week. There's the show, Wow, right? Women of Wrestling. Do you know about that show?
Women of Wrestling.
Yeah, Wow.
Wow. Yes. Wow. Yes.
They're on cable on a regular basis every week. They have a show. How did they get a TV deal? And ROH doesn't have one, and NWA doesn't have one, and TNA's struggling to find a home where they can be seen every week on something where everybody can access it. WoW is on TV every week.
I've seen it on Pluto TV. I think it's on CW at the most oddball hours, though.
No, it was on like at the 8 o'clock hour the other.
Really? I don't have CW. Wouldn't know. I don't have CW. I have to watch it on the app. CW is not on YouTube TV, Bill.
I'm wondering how that happens.
I'm looking it up now, though. I'm trying to see what's going on with this. I'm just completely oblivious to that, though.
Maybe it is CW. I was watching I was going through the channels.
I'm pretty sure it's on the CW app. So maybe it's on CW.
Then it's on cable because I have CW on my regular, like, cable subscriber or whatever the heck it's called. And it's there every week. Tuesday nights, I think it is.
I'm reading here. Definitely on the app. Starting of 2022. It started being on the app. I knew it was on the app.
So they have a weekly show. How can we not have products like the NWA and ROH? And how can
hear this? I just read this. The New York Times reported in December 2022 that WoW was the highest rated wrestling television show produced outside of WWE and AEW, and ahead of Impact Wrestling and New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Wow.
And this is attributed to the show being available on every cable home in the United States. Basically.
Yep. You're
right, man.
So how the heck is that happening? Yet we have all these hidden gems that people can't see, or you got to stream them or get an app or watch them on YouTube. And and it's not a knock on those women at all. I'm like, good for them. But how can that small group of talent get that opportunity? And we have, other talent that are struggling to find a home.
I need to look into this. I'm trying to remember.
I think it's Tuesday night at 8 o'clock.
Something about it, man. It's appealing. I don't really know much about the CW, though, because I haven't watched it in years. So you're my go-to source on that.
It's not appealing.
I've seen it. It's a women's wrestling show. It's not. Is it the presentation of it that you're not a fan of?
Yeah. And knowing that all the talent that's out there, always no one else jumping on this opportunity to not take that over and take that spot.
It's the third most watched, brother. God, 2 years ago.
Oh, unbelievable.
Yeah, you don't believe it, do you? I would have thought. Yeah, I wouldn't think it would be, but I don't know. I'm going to look more into this, though. We'll talk more about this next week.
Okay.
So it is that time of the episode where we go to on this day in pro wrestling history. We have 5 this week. Loving it for queuing things up and getting ready. Was an eventful week with some cool things. We're going to cover Monday through Friday. See if I can find it here. On this day in pro wrestling history, the 12th, February 12th, 2017, Bray Wyatt won his first WWE Championship in the main event of WWE Elimination Chamber in Phoenix, Arizona. The chamber match also included AJ Styles, Baron Corbin, Dean Ambrose, John Cena, and The Miz. Let's check it out.
AJ Styles and Bray Wyatt. Springboard, 450! Caught Wyatt, but he hurt himself as well for the cover! AJ Styles willing to do whatever it takes.
And I think AJ has hurt himself.
4 superstars have already been eliminated. We will crown a new WWE champion. You wonder what is going through AJ Styles and Bray Wyatt's minds to win.
Exactly it. They got to be creative. And somebody's going to look back.
Brutal proving ground. Phenomenal form. No, it's blocked by Wyatt. Sister Abigail on AJ Styles.
Bray Wyatt has done it.
New WWE champion, Bray Wyatt.
The era of Wyatt is here.
The title that has eluded him is now owned by the Eater of Worlds. Bray Wyatt has done it.
7 years ago, man.
Unbelievable. Like yesterday.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
That was him in the Orton feud. House of Horrors, I think all that was around that time. Crazy to think about. 7 years ago. And you like how JBL's like, the titles, it's eluded him. How old was he then? Like 28?
Gosh. I
Could have
was
been
sitting there
30.
when WrestleMania in Atlanta, I forget what number it was. We took the bus. So 2011. We took the bus. They bussed everybody from the hotels because the hotels was far from the arena. And I was sitting there with Wyndham, and I've known him and his brother through Mike for years when they were younger, and when he was still Husky Harris. And I was telling him, I said, man, I'm a big fan of what I'm seeing, and we just had this great conversation to watch him grow from Husky Harris and into Bray Wyatt and all that stuff. And then just seeing that. And it was like it was yesterday.
Awesome moment, though.
Yeah.
And definitely. How many more titles did he get? 1 or 2 after that?
2, I think.
Yeah. Cool moment, though. That's just him and Orton had like a couple really good build-ups, then just really weird payoffs at WrestleMania.
Yeah, yeah. But they were strong going into them.
Oh yeah, the build-up was great. Then the match is kind of like Bray Wyatt. It's like a weird main event match kind of guy. It's like you have all these cool components that he puts into building this, and how do you pay it off in a wrestling match?
Right.
A normal wrestling match.
Right.
It's just I think that was a challenge, but cool moment there, man. And AJ Styles looked great too.
Yeah. Can't believe he's
on
been with WWE as long as he has now.
2006.
And I don't mean like
15.
I can't believe he's been there. Like it's 15 years?
Well, no, he's been 2015. I think.
2015. So
15 or 16. 15 or 16.
Oh.
So yeah. Yeah, he was pretty much in the main event picture within a couple months too.
Yep.
Talented guy. Move on to the next one. This was the 13th, 1997. Shawn Michaels forfeited the WWF Championship and cut his "Lost My Smile" promo on an episode of Raw. It was actually like a Thursday Raw or something rare. The rumored creative plan was for Michaels to retain the WWF title on this show against Sid in a Rumble rematch, which would set up the eventual rematch between Michaels and Bret Hart at WrestleMania 13. Hart was already booked to win the final 4 elimination pay-per-view match 3 days later, which would go on to earn the right of that match. But let's watch it.
This comes obviously as a shock. Maybe it really shouldn't be, considering what you give, what you bring to the World Wrestling Federation has taken its toll on you.
I've never had a doctor look me in the face and say that I may never be able to wrestle again.
No one in the history who's ever won this championship belt has ever had to endure the kind of schedule that you have so readily taken upon yourself.
What I've always wanted for all these people is for them to have a good time and to enjoy themselves. One thing that's not going to revolve around this belt is going to be Shawn Michaels. I don't have any toughness for anybody. I know that over the last several months, I've lost a lot of things, and one of them has been my smile. I have to go back and fix myself, and I have to go back and I have to find my smile. I don't care if people want to make fun of me because I'm an emotional guy. This is all I've ever wanted to do. Whether you like me or not, I just want to tell you that last year was the most wonderful year of my life. If I never do get to do it again, it'll be okay because I got to live one full year as being the #1 guy. It was the single most greatest year of my life. I'm going to go home now.
Well, I'll tell you, folks, 25 years I've been doing this, and I have never the pain to my gut I've got right now.
I'll be honest with you, I had cold chills during that.
Yeah, that was it was a big night then, and it has the same effect right now.
Yeah, it's just, you could see how beat down and defeated he was in life, you know?
Yeah, that's it. It wasn't wrestling. Life.
And he took his time off, and he came back, and eventually he had quite a bit of time off, right? He came back and put together a crazy set of years, man, that were insane. What do you remember? You're on the other side during this, WCW.
Yeah.
What do you remember when you seeing this? What's everybody saying? What's everybody talking about? I know we always people like hearing that side from you. That's why they like the show here.
Well, I think initially the thought was it's a work like anything else, and then but we had guys there at the time that knew Sean and knew some of the boys on that brand. So then you find out and the backstory of life and all that other stuff that he was dealing with and trying to navigate. So it's once again, it's one of those things like, and I can only speak for myself, like, why can't we have those same stories? We all live the same life, you know what I mean? And it's just different variations of it. But WWE is not afraid to bring that to the forefront. But watching it was one of those things like, wow, man. And it wasn't like, cool, he's gone. It was like that thing, that understanding, that locker room brotherhood mentality of, I hope you get everything straightened out and this and that. But you hope that he's coming back. But again, it was one of those things like, if you have no feelings, then you have no feelings. But if you have feelings, that hits you hard, because everything he talked about was everything we all did. But we watched, to your point, we watched everything. It was like, wow, man, that really just happened.
It was a lot of people saying that he did it because he didn't want to drop the belt to Brett. But I think just watching him there and having that year that he did, it would take a lot to walk away from that.
Yeah. But it would also it makes it, listen, I can't speak from experience because I've never had a year like that. But I would say in some regards, it may make it easier because you finally had that thing that you've worked so hard for.
That's what he said too.
Yeah. So it's a double-edged sword, and it's just always funny. You saw the people's faces, and I used to love the emotion of the fans and all that stuff. But no matter what, somebody's still going to say, it's because of this. So that's wrestling, right? You got to love that part of it.
Several people crying in the crowd.
Oh, man. And it's not
sorry to cut you off. Let me ask you one more thing before we move on to the next date. What is it that Vince McMahon and Shawn Michaels seem to have this weird bond?
Well, I think Shawn's talked about it in the past. It was the father figure. Then it was the big brother figure. Then it was the little brother figure. Then it was the pain in the ass figure and all these other things. And, he's just a boss. But yeah, the dynamic of clearly there was a relationship there that went deeper than just boss and employee.
I'm not talking about anything that relates to what's going on right now.
Right. Yeah.
That's what I mean. It seems like very deep of a connection.
You can't, especially at that time, being so hands-on in your own company and what's going on, you get to know these talent, whether you want to or not. You're going to get to know them. So you hear about the Undertaker talk about it all the time, his relationship with Vince and even Mick Foley, and you hear Dwayne talk about it, and you hear Austin, and it's not always kumbaya, but there's that bond, there's that relationship they had. And if you were a top guy in the WWE at that time, then you had that relationship with Vince.
It seems like it was also, that's coming off of a very few rough years for the company, and Shawn Michaels is there just grinding it away, trying to make it work,
bringing it back up, and then he's out.
Yeah. Needed to get his time away, though. No, that was a really memorable moment. People still talk about it to this day all the time.
Yeah.
The 14th, February 14th, 1999, WWF St. Valentine's Day Massacre in Your House took place at the Pyramid in Memphis. Paul White, the Giant, the Big Show, however you want to call him, made his WWF debut by interfering in the steel cage match between Stone Cold Steve Austin and Mr. McMahon. Austin had to win this match to earn a shot at the WWF Championship at WrestleMania. Of course, he won the match when White threw him into the side of the cage, breaking it open, allowing Austin to drop to the floor and win the match. The Big Show's debut. Let's watch.
Oh, no! No! Stunner! Stunner! Austin stuns McMahon! Quit cussing him! He's going to WrestleMania! Wait a minute! My God, King! My God! King! That's King! That's Paul White! Yes! That's Paul White! He's huge! Look at that! He's helped Mr. McMahon to his feet! You knew the boss had to have something up his sleeve! Look at this! McMahon wants Austin to suffer what he suffered in this match. Austin manhandled. Austin into the cage. Austin, the cage gave way. Austin's down. Austin's out of the cage. Austin's out of the cage.
Moves on to WrestleMania. Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Austin's going to WrestleMania. Mr. McMahon's master plan has backfired.
Are you laughing at King? What?
I'm laughing because Kane's doing that, but you see, Austin's expression, like his eyes changed through every aspect of that falling from the cage, getting his hand raised, and then zooming back in on Mr. McMahon. Great stuff. He's
Bleeding, yeah.
big.
King's going, what? What? The,
Austin holding on to that cage too was great.
He literally threw him.
Yeah.
He literally picked him up and threw him into that cage.
Yeah.
What if he wouldn't have been able to hold on?
If he would have hit that and just dropped, he would have broke his back.
He literally threw him into it.
Yeah.
He just grabbed him onto the top of it.
Big Paul White is.
That's what I was about to say. How big did he look there?
My gosh, he looked like the original Sabretooth in one of the original X-Men movies, the first one.
Yeah.
I mean, with the long hair, and he just had that sinister look.
You should have had hair like that, Bill.
Paul was in tremendous shape, too. I mean, he was truly, he was a giant for a reason. But
You think, we're on the topic of him now, obviously, this is his debut. Do you think people really understate how great he's been?
Yeah. Yeah, people, I think he's one of the most underappreciated stars. Forget big men. I think he's one of the top 5 big men of all time. But I think he's definitely underappreciated. People, until you go through his catalog of years of what he's done, then you go, holy, he's been the man for so long, and so many reincarnations of the Big Show and the Giant, Paul White, and all these things.
He's cried.
Yeah, he's done it. He's made you laugh. He's been bald. He's been the sumo thing. He's done it all. I was sitting there thinking about it, wow, 99. I felt like he left us and was gone for years before we met up with him again. But it was only 2 years. But it was a long 2 years. At that time, when he left, that was a long 2 years. Because
Go back to what I was going to ask you, though. Again, what do you remember on your side when this happened? WCW.
Well, you knew he was going to be a killer. You knew when you never doubted Jericho when he left, because Jericho believed in Jericho. And he stayed to his vision of what he wanted to do and why he got in this business. So when Jericho left, there was a lot of doubters, and he proved them all wrong. When Gant left, when Paul left, you knew that Vince was going to make him just enhance the monster that he already was, because
but he got beat right away too.
Yeah, but that's the thing. That's the WWE way.
Yeah, I get it.
But can you weather the storm?
Yeah, he's so big he could weather. He was so good and his size.
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah. So it was one of those things like I said, I can't speak for everybody, but I knew the majority were sticking it to us, but it's working out for you. You
can't root against each other though at a personal level either.
No, nobody was rooting against him.
Another bummer here. Let's go to the 15th.
Yeah.
February 15th, 2004. Eddie Guerrero defeated Brock Lesnar in an upset victory for the WWE Championship at WWE No Way Out at the Cow Palace in San Francisco. This match was Eddie Guerrero's first WWF championship, and I think it made him a Triple Crown and a Grand Slam champion overall. Let's watch it.
What's Eddie going to do here? Suplex of his own! What Eddie going to do? This is big with those triple vertical suplexes. And then he do the third one. Eddie Guerrero back to his feet. Wow. There's a third with 3 suplexes. Eddie Guerrero's going to climb high. And he's going to fly, and he's going to fly! Nobody home for the frog splash! To be in a rematch, I can tell you that. F5! I told you! Here comes the pin! F5! Into the referee! Brock, let's get another ref out here! Has Eddie Guerrero covered by WWE Championship in his hand? Wait a minute! What the hell? Spear! That's Goldberg! Oh my God! Where the hell did he come from? What the hell is he doing here? Wait a minute. Eddie Guerrero, let's grab that title. Eddie Guerrero measuring the champion. Oh, this with the championship. Shot. Here it comes, Cole. Come on, Eddie. Eddie to the top rope. And he cheated. Frog splash. Come on, Eddie. Get Eddie, do it. 2. Yes. Eddie Guerrero is champion. WWE champion, Eddie Guerrero. Eddie Guerrero did the unthinkable for the first time in his career. Eddie Guerrero is WWE champion. Well, I'll tell you, Eddie Guerrero worked his ass off for so many years. Eddie Guerrero did it, and that's Eddie's mom right there.
Taz losing his voice.
I wonder if Brock appreciated that match then as he probably does now.
That's a really
Brock
good question.
was really relatively young with
Yes. Well, this is the big match build up. Him and Goldberg, right?
Yeah.
Then they both leave.
Yeah. So it was
eventually.
It was really good.
I don't think he needed Goldberg though.
I agree.
I just wish you would have. I wish you just would have hit him with the belt. Then
yeah. And then that was the first thought. Looking at it again, watching it now, going, it was so not needed. Okay, it ties into. Well,
yeah.
Probably could have figured out, but they could have figured out another way to do that. But that was always the idea was, and not because Brock needed protecting, but you knew Brock Lesnar was going to be a monster. And at that time, he was a monster, but nothing to the level he is now. You know what I mean? So that's always been the direction, and that's where you go. That's where WWE is better at it than anybody else. They stay the course, and they make sure they protect him. Even if we don't necessarily think something should have to be there, he's protected enough to at least, okay, there's circumstance. Much like when Drew McIntyre got rid of him at the Royal Rumble, right?
Yeah.
It was because Shelton came underneath and there was a nut shot and all these little things that protect you that go into it. But I wonder if Brock appreciated it then as much as he does now because and Brock and Eddie had good chemistry too.
Eddie Guerrero could wrestle anybody.
Eddie Guerrero could make he can make my starfish look like $1 million.
The crazy part is no one is talking about how Goldberg got involved.
Yeah.
Like people that are actual wrestling fans were just so happy because of the moment. It didn't matter that, and Eddie Guerrero, that was his gimmick too, right? So it didn't really matter how he won.
If that would have been the move that led to the finish, I think people would have talked about it. But the fact was, it was
what didn't show is he did pin him after that and he kicked out, I believe.
Yes. So we got that part of it in, but then it was still Eddie that beat him.
Yeah. What a moment, though, for Eddie Guerrero after.
Yeah.
You'd known Eddie quite a long time before this, so I'm sure this is cool for you to watch.
Long time. I was always jazzed for Eddie. I am always jazzed for Chavo. I got to know all the brothers, Hector and all of the great family. It's just their way. It's just a Guerrero way. You love them and you hate them and you're mad at them and you want to kiss them and you want to punch them in the mouth. But at the end of the day, they're ride or die guys. And anytime Eddie succeeded, we all succeeded. If you were part of Eddie's family and part of his circle, when he succeeded, you succeeded. So it was always awesome.
Another thing that always sticks out to me when I watch these kind of matches with Eddie, he's not a very big guy, but dang, he sure doesn't come across as a small guy, even in there with Brock Lesnar, suplexing.
Eddie, one, his physique it was always great. And Eddie was not a monster of a man, but he was just put together well, and he carried himself like not a cruiserweight. He carried himself like a heavyweight.
Yeah. Awesome moment, though, in pro wrestling history, though.
Really good.
Eddie Guerrero, one of the best. It's an emotional moment for him, too. You could see where he finally climbed to the top of the mountain, you know.
I think that's lost a lot of people, Jeff. I think people don't realize that we hear all the time, okay, it's choreographed, it's fake, it's a work, brother, it's all these things. But when you see when any man or woman becomes champion, with the look you see on their face that's as real as it gets, because call it entertainment, call it controlled chaos, call it whatever you want. To get to that point, it's your hard work. And Eddie wore that on his sleeve, much like everybody else does. But
it's like any other profession, though. When you reach that ultimate level that you've like if you wanted to be, you know, whatever, I don't know, politics even, like if you get that ultimate high level of election, that's what this is for Eddie Guerrero. It's ultimate career goal.
And if you have a love for this business, I honestly get choked up every time I see someone. I don't have to know you. When Rhea Ripley became champion, I got choked up, and I've never met her. So imagine the feeling of the guys and girls that you do know, and you go, "This is the best thing ever."
Yeah.
So as much as we talk about it, different lights, at the end of the day, it's all real and it's all emotion. And Eddie wore it on his sleeve like nobody else.
Last one of the day here. This ties into the Shawn Michaels thing. Yeah. This is on the 16th in left on my screen here. I don't know why it's stuck on my screen. 97. We had Bret Hart win his 4th WWF World title in a featured match of In Your House, the Final Four from Chattanooga, Tennessee. The main event featured the last 4 in-ring competitors from the previous month's Royal Rumble match, which Stone Cold won after he came back into the ring after he'd been thrown out. You probably remember that. Mm-hmm. The original prize of this match was for to be in the future title match. But since Shawn Michaels had forfeited the title, this actually became for the title. So Michaels leaving, we talked about it earlier, had a big effect on the creative.
Yeah.
And this is how it all played out afterwards.
It's over! It's over! Undertaker's gonna do it! He got it! The Undertaker is one move away from being the WWE champion. Leave him alone, Austin! He's finished! Undertaker going for the tombstone. What's he doing? Austin is obsessed with Bret Hart. Oh, that's one way to get Austin out of this thing. Undertaker knocks Austin down. And then the clothesline. Bret Hart did it. Bret Hart's the champion. Bret Hart's the champion. Bret Hart has done it. Hart is the new World Wrestling Federation champion for the 4th time. It's wearing the gold.
So watching that back, I would and listen, I can never question Austin, Taker, or Bret Hart. But watching that back, I would have loved to seen it just clothesline Taker over and then Bret not celebrate right away. Let them celebrate for him and then bring him up and then celebrate. Does that make sense? That's the little things I watch now. So see if you can refresh my memory. Is this leads into Bret Shawn?
Well, Shawn's out after this.
Right. But so was this already previous Bret Shawn starting to beef, or did the beef come later on?
Well, the word on the street was that's what the plan was going to be at WrestleMania. But then he left, obviously.
Because he did. That's what they were saying.
That's what people were saying.
This was the answer to it.
Correct.
Gotcha.
But what they did do was continue to build off this Austin storyline.
Yeah.
So Austin was obviously getting really hot at this point in time, right? I mean, it was full force going at it with this Bret Hart thing. So, I mean, it gave us that, because what happened was there was that submission match. This is what gave us that submission match at WrestleMania between Austin and Bret Hart.
Yeah.
Which was huge. 5-star match, Dave Meltzer, man.
Yeah, back then when hitting 5 stars was impossible.
So it all worked out in the end. but I believe the original creative was for Michaels and Bret Hart to go at it, but it ended up being...
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
But that was the leading into, so that was 97. And that goes to show you how hot Austin was getting, Taker was getting, Bret was, because this is the time when they're starting to take back over, right? This is when they're starting to come back out of it.
Yeah.
This is what WWE did better than anybody else. They had multiple superstars. They had multiple attractions. They had multiple kingpins. So no matter what happened, you thought, okay, Shawn Michaels got, okay, there's a lull. No. By the way, here's the other 3 guys that can carry the ball.
Kind of an impromptu moment, and the match was very weird because they had this moment, and as I was editing it, I was reminded of it, where right before, and I couldn't get it in there, but Bret Hart rolled Undertaker up, and they started counting, like a pin. Then within 1 minute, he eliminates Undertaker over the rope. I was editing that again. I was so confused. Man, that comes to the end of the episode here. We had another awesome episode, dude.
What a great year. So much good conversations. Always I'll say thank you to you, because nobody will ever know the time you put in behind the scenes on this podcast. But thank you for a great year. I love that everybody's getting involved. Chad and Tori and everybody who watches us across all the social media platforms. And this is a great episode to kick off a new year of the BDE. So tremendous job, man. Thank you.
Yep. Happy 1 year, Bill.
Happy 1 year, Jeff.
If you're just joining us now, make sure you go back and check out all the previous content. We have some cool evergreen stuff at BillDeMott.com. We've covered Tough Enough Season 3 in deep dive. We've covered the United States Championship history of that title in an extreme deep dive. We've talked about the career of Bill Goldberg. A lot of great conversations that we've done in long form too. We got to get back to those again. That's a lot of work though for me.
Yeah, it's a lot of, the beauty of what it is though is we have so many more people commentating on the YouTube channel now of past episodes, because I'm glad they're catching up to them. So it's really cool to see what everybody's catching up to. But I like when we take those deep dives, because they turn out to be really great episodes.
Yeah, they do. And this was another fun one, Bill. And thank you for everybody listening. Yeah, make sure you check out the previous content if you haven't. And yeah, check out the work that Bill does with the foundation as well.
Yeah, man.
The starfish reminded me of that. I can't forget it, but that starfish back there.
I'm telling you, this office is a complete shambles this week. We've been so busy.
You got the Shakespeare skull back there too. Are you reciting some Shakespeare?
You notice it all, man. You notice it all. That's who I talk to when I'm working at home.
Well, there you go. All right, man. Hit us with your catchphrase.
All right, everybody. Do what you say what you mean, and mean what you do.
And keep being you, and keep being great.
Jeff Townsend Media. CG, good night.
And the question is, do I stay here? Will you be back? Are you gonna come back? Will you be back? Are you coming back?